And I spend this second half of my life living the dream life that I dream of.
Welcome back to our continuing conversation with Tana. In our previous segments, we've explored the profound impact of trauma and how it shapes our relationships and life choices. Today, we're diving deeper into one of the most complex and painful relationships in Tana's life, the one with her mother, Marie. What you're about to hear is raw, honest, and deeply personal. Tana opens up about growing up with a mother who battled addiction that kept her from being present as a parent. Throughout this conversation, you'll hear her grapple with questions that haunt many adult children of addicted parents. How do you love someone who is never really there? How do you break cycles that seem destined to repeat? And perhaps most importantly, how do you find peace with a relationship that exists more in your longing than in reality? Tana shares memories that are both heartbreaking and illuminating, from the rare moments of sobriety when her mother apologized, to the painful realization that she could never turn to her mother for protection or comfort. But what emerges is not just a story of loss and disappointment. It's also a testament to the resilience, to the power of choosing differently, and to the grandmother who stepped in to provide the love and stability that Marie couldn't. As we listen to Tana's story, we're reminded that healing doesn't always mean reconciliation, and that sometimes the greatest act of love is learning to say they can't help themselves, not as an excuse, but as a way to find peace. This is a conversation about generational trauma, about the weight of being the cycle breaker, and about the complicated grief of mourning a mother who is still alive, but was never really present. Let's continue with Tana's story.
And I tell people, I said, it might sound cliche, but I'm a Hallmark girl.
Yeah.
I am. My friends picking me. One weekend I stayed on myself. I'm having me a Christmas in July with Hallmark. And I looked at Hallmark Christmas movies all weekend. And I dream of that. I grew up with my grandmama giving me a little glimpse of what the little picket fence could be. There was little white families that I envied growing up. My grandmama cleaned for them. And I would go and help her and pretend that I lived in that house. Or if those little white kids gave me some clothes, I thought they, because my grandmama grew up in a segregated age. So, and she was all, white people was kind to me. I've had some racist experiences in my adult life, but as a child, they were good to me. And gave me clothes and did nice things for me. And I used to want to mimic their bedrooms. My grandma would go to like yard sales and find the items and make my room look like what the little white girl room looked like. And they live what looked like from the outside looking in, because we know things can be different. What the little Hallmark life, Their parents was teachers. She cleaned for a judge, and the lady was a teacher, and the girl had this pretty beautiful, and I wanted that. And I gravitated to those movies that looked like the happy ending. And in my mind, I'm gonna manifest my happy ending. I keep on manifesting. I keep praying for it. I know God is real. I remember when I rent one of my rooms out right now to survive. I had rented it out to this guy. He left me owing $300. That's when the panic attack happened, because I was like, if I don't have this, I've never had an eviction filed on me ever, but that was what was gonna happen. And I prayed and prayed, and I'm like, Lord, this is gonna be you. I don't have nobody to ask. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I put on Instagram that I had a room for rent. Last time I did that, it took months for somebody to bite the bait. But this particular weekend, had I not gotten these actually $300, that's all I needed. I kept saying, I just gotta have $300, just $300. And I just prayed, and I just was like, Lord, like, this is gonna be on you. Well, that Sunday, one of my homegirls, I saw her tag me in something. Basically, somebody said something about somebody needs some help. My friend was like, hey, Tanner got a room for rent. I go to the post, I DM the girl, I was like, I do, tell the person to text me, we could chat. I'm still thinking it might be a long, drawn out process.
Yeah.
The guy texted me the next morning, came over to look at the room, sat right there, and sent me $300. Because I charge $150 a week for the room.
Yeah.
He wanted to go on and pay for 2 weeks. Sent me the $300. I told Chris, I said, I've been praying for $300 all weekend. I wish I'd have been praying for 6. But I had to be like, I even told him, I said, I come whining to you about what I'm going through. I said, let me give you the testimony because that was God. It's a complete stranger, basically.
Yeah.
He in the middle of a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Puerto Rican guy, but from like Detroit or something, and moved to Georgia with his wife, whose family is from here. So when they separated, he had to go move in with her grandmother because he had no family here. So you know how awkward that was for him.
Yeah.
So here he is having a hard time finding an apartment because of credit and different things like that. And out of nowhere, this room, this is a little private room. You go in out the back door.
Yeah.
We don't bother you. He liked it right away. And it was like God just placed him right there at the right time. And at a time that kept me from getting the eviction notice a couple of days later. So I'm saying all that to say, I'm a believer in praying and manifesting in what you want. I've been getting a lot of disappointments here lately, but just like my friends were saying earlier, it just wasn't your person.
Just one.
It wasn't your person. Thank God.
Because no telling what kind of hell would have been following
Right.
that.
For me to be so ready to accept. Even with the girl that's been his friend for 30 years, when I thought about it, the more I thought about it today, I'm like, she was the messy. When I came to her as a woman, it's like, how do you know this girl?
Yeah.
And you tell her, you tell me you don't know her, you tell her. So with all that being said, here I am. Soon as somebody look like they like me a little bit, and I kind of like them, I was about to accept some stuff that I probably would have didn't need to accept.
And the one thing about the Lord he's going to do, he's going to keep giving you the test until you pass
Till I pass it. Yeah. That's what I got to do. I got to pass these tests, and I got to not continue. My heart hurts for my mother because she never know what it's like to be a mother.
Have you ever had a conversation with her when she was sober?
Yes. And it be some real civil conversation. But it's like short-lived. Even I never forget when she was in jail one time. I went to see her.
In jail?
I cannot remember why she was in jail in this particular moment, but back then, Union City jail was a jail they would keep you in for a while. Now, it's more like a holding cell, and they'll send you up to Rice Street.
Yeah.
So why was my mama in jail? I cannot remember why she was in jail, but she had to serve like 3 months. And I remember something saying, just go see her, because I wasn't trying to go see her. And I remember her sitting there. The only time she ever apologized for not being the mother that I deserved, she was like, Boo, I have been sitting in here and I know I failed y'all. And I be trying, but I am sorry. It's the only time I can remember her apologizing for not being the mother that I deserve. But other than that, she never really seemed to have no remorse. I will get by herself sometimes.
That's why I was asking, how often have you had the opportunity to talk to her when she wasn't high or drunk?
Maybe 5 real times in my life.
Because it feels like she couldn't even frame the words in the fog that she was living in.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm not making excuses.
Oh,
and
no,
I'm
no,
not trying to
but
give her
no.
a pass, but
she's always been some type of addict to something.
right.
Whether it was men, whether it was the streets, whether it was drugs, whether it was alcohol. Her focus was never us. And that's why, like, even through molestation, I knew I couldn't tell her because she would have took that man's side. She would have said I was lying, and I was not going to chance that. So I just kept it to myself. I never even started telling nobody about molestation until I got grown. Chris figured it out because he was like, Mom, every time we say something about such and such, Daddy, you always make this face, or you kind of brush it off, or you kind of, He's like, did he do something to you? I'm like, how you know? He said, because it's a demeanor you get when his name even come up. I was like, yeah, he did. And here my child is had to call that. I never even told my grandmama, but my grandmama's intuition was deep. And I can remember the weekend after that happened, I remember her saying, you can't go back over there and spend the night.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. She was like, yeah, I don't want you back over there. And I don't know if it was just a look I had, I don't know what it was, but that woman didn't let me go back over there and spend the night. And she never could stand that man.
Yeah.
She never could stand him off the rip, but she didn't want me to go over there and spend. And they were renting a house out for flat shows here, and I would spend the night some weekends or whatever. But sometimes I look at my mama, and I'm not even angry with her no more because you don't even know no better. My grandmama used to use this saying all the time, oh, China, they can't help themselves. And that her saying they can't help themselves was a mental thing. Like if you put it together now, it was an old school saying, oh, you know she can't help herself. That's basically saying she crazy and she can't help herself.
Yeah.
So she can't help what she's doing because of what she's doing out here.
Right.
So she'll say, well, you know she can't help herself. And that's my new motto for my mother. She can't help herself. You had these kids. See, people bring kids into this world that they don't even realize what they're going to do to their lives when they do it. You know, like some people are having kids unconsciously.
Right.
And these kids got to suffer for what you haven't learned or what you decide you want to do with your life. That's why, even in the midst of me still being around family, most of it was because of my kids. I had to still make decisions that wasn't going to hurt them.
So that was the main theme that framed your parenting.
Yeah.
That I am going to be present and active for my kids.
For my kids.
That sounds like your priority over everything
over
else.
everything.
Despite all your personal and internal things you're going through. So that is a complete 180 turn from what your mom did.
Yeah. I was determined for my children to know that even no matter what I did, the best that I could do. And I didn't want them to feel trauma from me making bad decisions. Now, I've made some bad decisions for my own life, but I tried to keep stability for them.
Right.
So that was my biggest thing. I've made my bad decisions and still probably making a few. But overall, they get the stability.
Right.
And that's all that's important to me. You know, I got 4 years for my daughters are 18 and they go to college. I'm hoping by then I'm blessed with a good relationship that I can have somebody to spend time with. But every decision that I make is I want them to know I chose them. I chose them, but regardless. We might not have had the best of the best. Chris might not have, Chris he lived a blessed life. He had some great, his dad was good to him. His grandparents was wonderful. He always had a roof over his head through me. He wore good clothes because of his daddy. But when I say I feel like I failed, it's just because it's things that I wish I could have had for him, like owning my own home, that he could have experienced me doing in his lifetime, or taking family trips, taking him on vacations, that we could have did. He didn't do that. By the time I got married and had the twins, they experienced that. But Chris didn't get the pleasure of that because I was a single mom. He'll tell me, Mom, my childhood was fine, it's okay. But to me, there was parts of that make me feel like I failed certain things. Or I even want I want him to experience me being happy. Because he even told me that he was like, if you died right now, Mama, I would say my mama had happy moments, but she never was really happy. And I want him to feel like I was happy. You know what I mean? No matter what that looked like, I want him to be like, she finally happy. And that's what I wanted to see from her. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's everything I base my life on right now is just making sure they content. And they can't sit here and say, my mama was never satisfied. My mama was, my mama was chasing them men, like I might be chasing a few of them, but they can't tell it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like when I leave the house, they don't know what I'm doing, and you know what I mean? But they can't. They got the stability,
Right.
and that's all. And I had stability with my grandparents. I didn't move around or bounce around, but I just yearned for a mother. And I would be with I ain't had no curfew, I ain't had no rules. My grandma was old school. I mean, when I say old school, meaning she just, if I say this what I'm doing, okay, baby. All right. I had curfew because my friends had curfew. I was like, well, I guess I'm going home since everybody got to go home.
So what did your grandmother think when you became pregnant?
I thought she was going to be disappointed. And I was even scared to tell her. But my grandmama was cool with it. My grandmama, I can remember Randy was trying to talk me into this abortion for a long time. And my grandmama had a little room kind of like this, but we had to walk through it. I had to walk through it to get to my room.
Yeah.
And she would be in there sewing or whatever. Well, when I walked through the room to get to my room, she wasn't in there. I thought she liked to hang in the kitchen by the phone because, back then you had
the phone
sit down. So I thought she was in there. So she done overheard me and Randy talking about this abortion thing. And I'll never forget, my grandma was just so wise and just so cool. And I remember her sitting there, looked like she was knitting something. She was sewing. She didn't even look up when I walked out the room. She said, you know that stuff you and that boy in that talking about, y'all better let that go. Just have him and give him to me. That's what she said. And I was like, him? She's like, just have him and give him to me. And that thing, she loved yard sales. And that thing, I know she came home with all this blue stuff. I never knew what Chris was till I had him. I didn't know. He just came out, he ended up being a boy. I said, well, grandmama jinxed me because she was calling him from the moment. But like my mama went up to the health department with me to find, and when I went to take the pregnancy test, she come in, is she pregnant? And the lady was like, she have to tell you. She's 19, she have to tell you. And I was like, yeah, I am. Like, I ain't care what she thought. But I kind of hid it from my grandma, but I went to throwing up and all that stuff. My grandmama knew. She knew. She said, I knew when you threw up your Taco Bell because you love Taco Bell. I knew then. But what was funny was Randy took me out for my birthday, and I had wore this cute little real short dress, and we had got a little room and everything. And when I know that had to be when I got pregnant. And my grandma said, yeah, when you came back with that little bit of short dress on, I knew something wasn't going to be right after that. So she was just cool. Like, I remember one of her good friends, older lady, who was my best friend's adopted mother who raised her. Now, tell him, Brayden, what you going to do? She said, we finna have a baby. And like, my grandma would be so nonchalant with it. Like, you wouldn't even be able to have no smart comeback because the way she come at you, meaning you finna let this go. We're not gonna have this conversation. Right. She said, we finna have a baby. And I was the first one in my friend group to have my baby. But Chris was a grandmama's boy off the real. I had to move. I moved because of my grandma because I was like, this boy too small. Like, we gotta get out of here. She went, come out, like, I'm finna spank him. Run, baby. She run. He run to her. So that he couldn't get no spanking. My girl was crazy about that boy. Crazy. She died when he was 12.
Let me ask you this question. I'm going to switch gears.
Yeah.
Knowing your mom was an addict from a young age, why do you drink?
Did it ever
cross your mind?
Yeah. But I started drinking as a teenager, just fun stuff. It's fun to get intoxicated.
Yeah.
What I learned from drinking, different from my mama, was I didn't have to show out. See, my mama's drinking was associated with showing out. I was proof that you didn't have to show out when you drank.
Yeah.
I hid that I drank from Chris for years because he associated drinking to Marie. That's why he don't drink to this day.
Yeah.
His grandmother, my mama was an alcoholic, and his great grandmama on his daddy's side was an alcoholic. So me and Randy's mama bonded over having alcoholic mothers, and our grandmamas raised us. So Chris was like my great grandmama on my daddy's side drink, and my grandmama on my mama's side drink. He said, with my luck, he said, my daddy and my mama handle alcohol fine. With my luck, I'll be the alcoholic. So that's why he stay away from it. I do worry about my daughters. Like, I really don't want them to drink either because they daddy, Jarek is an addict. His dad was an addict. I worry about that. Now, I ain't gonna lie, there is a part of me where the alcohol is somewhat of an addiction. Now, it probably even more so now with this surgery. And they told me, they warned me that it could happen more so, that you crave it more. Whatever you might do, you'll crave it more. And I do feel like that is. Only thing that I give myself credit on is that my alcohol, I can wait till the weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm not acting no fool. I do feel like last night I was triggered, and with the alcohol, I couldn't wheel it in. I had a hard time wheeling it in right at the show. But I think I would have acted like that without the alcohol because that girl had been trying me for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it was a part of me wanting to stay away from it. Now, drugs, you even catch me putting it in my nose.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem that came in at with my relationship. So there was people telling me like, Tana, you can't compete with those women because those women do what he doing. You got to remember that. They was like, you trying to compete with that is almost like you're a gay person. This man want a man, want a woman. You can't be a man for. It's the same thing. This guy that used to be on drugs told me that. He said, you can't compete with that. He said, don't think that this woman won. It's the drugs that they do together in that lifestyle. That is what's winning. That's what took him from your marriage, not this woman stole him. It's what they do together. So drugs for me is scary.
Yeah.
I could never do it. But once I started being a drinker, it just kind of stuck. But I don't, I like I say now, I can't pass up a margarita at a Mexican. I be trying, because I even feel like the reason why I ain't even lost more weight is because of the way I drink. I be fighting to get the alcohol back off of me from the weekend. But I need the numbness sometimes. And I can honestly say I think I need the numbness. It's not because, I love to drink. It's because it takes me away from my reality sometimes, the problems, the stuff I'm worried about. I'm an overthinker. I stay in my head. That's why I try to pray more now. But the drinking do kind of numb some of what I experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Marie's just a little bit of all of it, but I can't even fault her parenting so much as it is. She wasn't ever a parent, but she did make me the mother that I am because I didn't want to be like that.
Yeah. Is there anything you would want to say to her now?
If I could say to her when she real sober, I would say that I'm so sorry that you did not get to experience the love that we could have given you as your kids and love on you and show you what it's like for your kids to even love. Like when I get love from my kids, there ain't nothing like it. And sometimes I tell people, I say, I'm getting older with these young ones. I said, they be tucking me in. They be there on the phone or whatever. They know to come in there and turn my ceiling fan. Mommy, want your fan on? They turn my fan on. And they come give me a hug. And, but I wouldn't take nothing for that.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for anybody that don't know what it's like to feel their kids' love, because I do get that from my kids, and I'm very grateful for that, and I wish my mother would have stopped to experience what it's like to be a mother and a grandmother. Like I itch for Chris to have a child, you know what I'm saying? I wish they would just do it already, you know what I'm saying? But even as a grandmother, I want to be the grandmother that I wish that my mama would have been to my kids. You know what I mean? It's like everything that Marie did not do, I'm really wanting to do that for my family. You know what I mean? Even with my little sister, I always say, I'm a sister/mama, because I want her to feel like she had a mother in me that she didn't get to get with Marie. And I feel like she feel that for the most part. And I'm pretty sure all of them probably even got their own version of whatever story My story is different because I was the oldest sibling,
Yeah.
but each one of them, I'm sure, got their own story. I feel like I got a sister right now that searched for love in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
I got a sister that did dance.
Mm-hmm.
She started stripping, and her dad is the one who got my mama into stripping. And
Really?
his daughter, he got a daughter that's my age, and
Mm-hmm.
me and her almost grew up like sisters. We was besties growing up because our parents dated. She used to spend a lot of time with us, and she was dancing. So I never forget when my sister was about 14. My sister made more in one night than you do all week, and that was the moment I knew she was gonna do it too. And she
Mm-hmm.
started doing it. She started dancing too. So she don't now, but she the one with a bunch of kids and all that. But and she was the one that's Princess Tiana. That was the one we were crazy about. But when she made that statement to me that her sister made more in one night than I do all week, I said, okay, so she next. Her daddy had my mama doing it. I don't know what made April do it, but April did it. And then now, and then Tiana did it for a while.
And who
It's,
is April?
April is her sister on her daddy's
I got
side.
you. I got you. Wow.
Yeah. So she started
Mm.
dancing. I think she even, rumor has it that she even made like a porn video. She was really out there. I was trying to get under control and she was running away and I just, nothing I could
You
really
can't
do.
save
I can't
everybody.
save everybody. Yep. And then my little, one of my sisters, the one that she had when I was 16 that I caught,
Mm-hmm.
that's the one I just feel like really, she really probably needs some therapy. But she got this tough exterior, but she really soft. But she looking for love in all the wrong places. But I only said so much to her when I'm giving my opinion because I don't know how she gonna receive it,
Right.
and I just tread lightly with her,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still all like all they mama. When they really need that motherly advice, I'm the one all of them call.
Yeah.
you know. So I try to be there as best I can, but when they don't like something, then I go back to being the sister.
Right.
You
Right.
know. And I did my best I could with them, and I wasn't perfect. I said, can you imagine being 27 years old and you signed on a dotted line for 3 additional children? You already got your own.
Yeah.
I said, then when my grandmama died, I got all y'all. That was hard.
Yeah.
I said, then y'all be want to be critical of what I did or how I did it, but y'all always look decent going to school. I had a nice village in Fairman of people that knew I was raising the kids, and sometimes like Landmark bought them Christmas one year, and
Yeah.
people that grew up with my mama. One lady, she would get each family member to sponsor a child sometimes because they would like town over there with them kids.
So you didn't even have a chance to have a young adult life.
No, nope. I did my little spurts of partying, but I even tell people now it's like I'm reclaiming my time. Everybody be like, "You aging backwards." I hope so, because I'm reclaiming my time.
Yeah.
Because now I finally get to live. I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of responsibility at a young age, so now I could actually go out and have a good time, and
Mm-hmm.
try not to worry too much. But that's why I keep calling it the second half of my life.
Right.
I feel like this second half, I'm asking God to give me what I deserve. I
Yeah.
raised these kids. I did my best. Everybody thriving that I took
Mm-hmm.
care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I want some happiness now too.
Yeah.
I really, really want that. And I'm manifesting the same way I manifested that $300 when that guy showed up and rented
Yeah.
this room. I feel like I can manifest the same thing
Mm-hmm.
with my life. But when it all go back, it still go back to Marie was this 14-year-old young lady that had a baby that she couldn't abort, that she reminds me that she couldn't abort. Because my grandmama told me on my deathbed, she was like, Tana, do you think I'm not your grandmama for real? I said, you was my mama. I said, if you needed to sign some papers on me, you could have did that. You were my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you the best thing that happened to me. She said, because everything Marie wanted, I was trying to give it to her, even down to her wanting to abort you. She said, when I took her to that clinic and she came back out and they said she was too far gone. And that means you're too far along.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said that was the best thing could happen. She said I was so happy she couldn't get rid of you. And she said now, and she used to tell my godmama that died back in December, she told her, she said, I might have adopted Marie, but God sent me Tanner. And she said, I was so glad. And she said, you've been my baby the whole time. And I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful that I was able to experience such a loving mother because she was, if we talk about mothers, that was my actual mother.
Yeah.
She was so good to me and she did the best she could with what she had. But she never was verbally abusive. She raised me in church. And she would buy me an outfit just to make me feel better. Well, if I go get your outfit, would you feel me? Yes. Yes, I would. So and my friends outside looking in, the ones that grew up around me, felt like I was a spoiled child because they what they saw, they didn't realize I was crying and wishing I had a mom, or I'd be with my friends with their mamas, and I would be a little jealous because my friends had a decent mother and I had to be embarrassed by mine. Mine was embarrassing to me. So all the ones that a lot of friends that sold drugs, that they would try to hide the fact from me that my mama was buying drugs from them. But and they sheltered me for a long
I
time.
remember you telling me that you'd be in school and the boys would be talking about how they went to someplace and saw your mom.
Yeah.
That's why I asked, why would you stay in Fairburn?
Yeah.
It's just so small.
It was and it was very embarrassing. And it would be people who would know how my mama is and would try to keep their children from hanging with me because of my mother. And it would hurt my feelings. I would go crying to my grandmama. Such and such said their child shouldn't hang with me. And I didn't do anything wrong. She said, Tanner, they can't help themselves. They don't know no better. And then later on, I got defensive. I was like, why would people say that when they know my grandmama the one raising me? Marie not raising me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why would y'all judge me based on my mama? I can't help what my mama is doing.
Yeah.
And being from this small town, I dealt with a lot of that. I dealt with a lot of criticism for a while with her being hanging around Fairburn and stuff. You just letting your mother be out here on the street. This is just still your mother. I said, let her come stay at your house. See how long she can stay with you. I said, she's not on the street. And what she's doing right now, she's choosing.
Yeah.
Because I gave her shelter. Now, I'm going to work in tears some morning because I ain't been to sleep because she done kept me up all night. Like, but that's the part of being from this small town that's hard. Even this experience I had last night from being from this small town. Because that girl from this town, here I am dating somebody that wasn't from this area, but somehow this girl that who I'm trying to stop, you're a thorn in my side, and everybody know you slept with my husband. There's a lot of that going on. So, and Jared upsets me because he used to be, I'm so sick of your mama. I'm so sick of your mama. But the kind of woman he deal with right now is just like my mama.
Yeah.
She get drunk, she show out, they all on drugs. You didn't have to deal with that for me. You had like my mama getting on your nerves, but you go and stay with a woman that's doing the same thing that you intimate with.
Yeah.
But you criticizing my mama.
Yeah.
And he go and just decide he want to relive the life his daddy gave him. Like, come on, Jerry. Like, why would you do that? Your daddy broke y'all family
He's got some
up.
healing to do himself.
He knew he need to get himself together. And I pray for him. And the reason why I pray for him, not because I want any reconciliation between us, but for my daughters, his kids. Like, come on, be the man that they need to be able to compare their husbands or spouses to you, or what the significant other should be like. Right now, they can't do that.
Yeah.
He just abandoned us for the streets.
Yeah. He's got some healing
He do.
to do himself.
Yeah. So that is just a snippet of why I'm where I am right now, and pulling it out the
even
mud
with
myself.
everything you shared, you've had a really blessed life.
Yeah. Yeah. I have. Like, when I think about the way my grandmama provided, I graduated from, we didn't have aspirations like going to college. Like, my friend group, we didn't have that circle.
Yeah.
Everybody was in survival mode. I know people older and younger than me that went to college, and even a few people in my class, but they came from a different breed of people. My little community, we didn't have nobody to, we was comparing ourselves to,
Yeah.
or even like a competition. Like let's go get it. We just were working and trying to survive.
Right.
All
Right.
of us mostly came from homes where the mamas was very young, and even if their parents went on drugs, the mamas were so young that the grandmamas was the one raising the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we all just went through all about survival. So I didn't. I just wanted to be able to take care of my son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Randy, his dad is the one convinced me to go to school for the medical assistant. He like, what you gonna do? Keep working at Dairy Queen? Like he just like Chris. Chris just like him, be sarcastic and try to make you feel like you this big. I mean, you done had a whole baby, so you gonna keep working at Dairy Queen. And so I went found a little school that I can go get my little medical assistant thing, and it was times I would go do some classes online. Even now, I'm trying to go back to do the LPN and maybe crossing. I was like, I'm reclaiming my time.
Mm-hmm.
So my dream always was to be an RN, but life kept getting in the way of school,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was taking care of my brothers and sisters. My grandmama got sick. Then I go and have twins. It's like all these things that just kept getting in the way of school.
Yeah.
I would take some little classes online, but then I stopped. So now that life is not as demanding, other than basketball with this girl, I want to go back.
You're just a natural caregiver. So now you want to go get certified and degreed in
And
caregiving.
caregiving. I think, and it's so crazy because I literally naturally nurture people.
Yeah.
That's how come I even think I grab people, needy people gravitate to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like even some of my friendships, they gravitate to me when they need to vent, when they need to, they need advice or, I used to be the town nurse when I worked there. I worked in pediatrics for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody called me about what was going on with their kid. Call town. Oh, somebody new have a baby. That woman got so much business because of the people that said, take them down to what town at.
Uh-huh.
Because of that, bringing them to that pediatric office. I hired doctors to do sports physicals at parks. But people naturally, even like I say, even with men, I become a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how not to be, but I do be wanting people to nurture me sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But naturally, you know,
Yeah.
naturally a nurturer. And I just find, and I even catch myself doing, I'm like, here you go. Stop it.
Well, that's your gift.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's your gift. It'll come back in dividends.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
All I want now for my life is just for the second half to be what I've always prayed for. Jared, well, he was my protector for a long time. I call him my security guard. Like he showed me love. He didn't play about me. And it was just one day, it was just too much.
Yeah.
He cheated a lot. But at home, he was good to me for a long time, and then it just changed one day.
Yeah.
So I always thought that we would get through it and come out on the other side stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we got this dysfunctional function that's just gonna work, and it just stopped working. So I just got to keep praying for it, for what I want. Yeah, but I'm surviving.
Yes, you are.
I'm surviving.
You know what? I met George at 43. By 45, we were married.
Okay.
And it has been amazing.
See, that's wonderful.
It has been amazing. So you hold on to that second half of your life because it's real.
Yeah.
And it's true. And sometimes I catch myself like, dang, why couldn't we find ourselves earlier?
Right.
But then I realized my children had to be here.
Mm-hmm.
His children had to be
Right.
here.
Right.
We had to find each other at that right time.
Yeah.
Because timing literally is
It's everything. Yeah.
And
well, that's a beautiful testimony. Like when I hear stuff like that, that's what give me hope. That I could find that, I can attain that, and I'll eventually be loving and somebody that love me equally. And honestly, I really rather my kids be older where they're not really having to adapt to somebody else. Me and Randy he used to come and spend a night on Christmas Eve so that he could wake up with Chris. You know, he'll sleep in the living room. Well, at least Chris thought he was sleeping in the living room. And sometimes he wouldn't. And he would wake up and he'd be in the living room because we had our little thing for a long time.
Yeah.
We just didn't want Chris to know because we didn't want Chris to think that we was going to be together and we didn't want to hurt his feelings. But I tried to make sure I gave Chris that too, like have both your parents, you wake up and your daddy is here with you on Christmas. And then it got to the point I was going through some sadness phases back then too, and I was like, Randy, just take Chris to your parents on Christmas Eve, and he can wake up over there because they was the ones who was primarily buying a lot of Chris's Christmas. I was a single mom trying to make it, and he would just wake up over there a couple of times, and they'll do it. So we kind of would alternate. Either Randy stay at my house or Chris will just wake up over there, you know. But Chris knew. He knew where it was coming from. I had to always be like, yeah, I got you there. You know, sure. But Chris was always a good sport too because when my siblings came along, he basically just pretty much let me do what I need to do for them.
Yeah.
He was like, Mom, you know I got my dad. My dad will take care of my stuff and you just focus on them. So when it got to where I had to do back to school shopping and Christmas, I really couldn't do a lot for Chris. So Chris got used to my taxes. So when tax time comes, then when Chris get a lump sum of money. So he kind of got used to it. I know my mama get me straight, but he knew that I had to focus on them. And he always was a good sport. That's why at times when they've disrespected me, he'd be so angry because he was like, I pretty much gave up my mama for y'all. You know what I'm saying? How dare y'all treat her like that? Because she didn't have to do any of this, you know? So he definitely has always been ride or die me. He has always been ride or die me. So, and I'm thankful for that because I look so much like what my mama's supposed to look like. They're growing up, oh, you look just like Marie, you look just like Marie. And I even used to hear people say slick star, she's probably gonna be like her mama. She's gonna probably be like her mama. So my goal, it was almost like my goal was to make sure that I was not like her. I might look just like her. Because even the older I get, people that see me, they might just look at me and stare at me like, girl, you look just like your mama, especially I'm aging. And it's funny to me because that's why I said another reason why it's hard to figure out who my daddy is because I look so much like her. Or what she's supposed to look like or whatever. But yeah, I was determined not to be like her because people will say that little slick stuff. She's gonna be just like her mama. No, I ain't either. I refused. I refused. So hopefully even my siblings will be grateful that they know their mama, but they didn't have to be a product of what she was subjecting everybody to. Her last boyfriend, they fought all the time. So that's why defects got involved. Because people was reporting her as a battered woman and she ended up having to give up custody of them. They was like, if we come back one more time, we taking them. My grandma called me in a panic. I need you to get my babies. You ain't got to do nothing. Just get them. They won't give them to me. And in my heart, I was like, yeah, I ain't got to do that right now, but I'm going to have to, like my grandmama was older. So it terrified me. That's why that last baby, I made my mama get her tubes tied.
So what was that conversation like?
Like with my grandmama?
Not with your mom when you said to her, you need to get your tubes tied.
Oh, she didn't even give me no rebuttal.
But you would think if she said she didn't want to have you,
yeah,
she probably didn't want to have your siblings also. Why was birth control never in the cards with her?
You know what's funny? I feel like she didn't want to have me because of her age. She was very like, I know I don't need no baby, I'm too young. But the rest of them, I don't think she cared. She was married when she had my brother at 16. And then all the other babies was products of relationships she was in. And I felt like that she was having babies with these men trying to keep them. And they all 6 of us got a different daddy. It's so crazy. all 6 of us. And the man that was abusing her, the reason why they took the kids, he wasn't nobody's daddy. But had them two not been tied, it would have ended up being somebody's daddy.
Yeah,
Every boyfriend, she has a child to show for it. So I never heard her say she didn't want no more kids. I'm the only one that I've actually actively heard her say she tried to abort me, and it was just too late. Everybody else, they were just a product of her relationships and her life. And it didn't matter. Like she was all about. I even had to tell her, I said, just because you always been all about a man, don't mean I'm gonna be all about one. Yeah, everybody want a spouse or a significant other, but I'm not finna put it before my children.
right, right.
And that's just bottom line. Like I was saying, my mama would blurt out to the whole house what I had already confided in her about
Yeah.
once she got drunk. So the girls, I give them their individual time. Because they very different people. Sometimes we get in the room, we close the door, and I let them talk about whatever they want to talk about. Sometimes they collectively want to talk to me about some stuff,
Yeah.
and sometimes they want to tell me about their own thing, but I don't share it with nobody.
Yeah.
You know, only thing I ever shared with their daddy, even was when Camille admitted that she feel like she was gonna be liking girls. And his crazy self talking about he thought she wasn't grow out. I said, no, you didn't. I said, Camille been like that since she was 6. I mean, literally, before she ever even thought about liking girls, she was like this. So I was like, you ain't think she really grow out of that. She grew more into it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the only, but she had told me, she's like, don't tell daddy, because I'm going to tell him myself. But I knew she was going to take her time. I'm like, man, that joker better know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He tried to act dumbfounded about it, but he just kind of ignored it for the most part. But that's the only thing I ever went behind her back and said that she told me not to say is the fact that she wanted to tell me that. And she told me not to tell her daddy. But I'm like, that's her daddy though.
Yeah.
It ain't like it's a
Just
boyfriend or
exactly.
that kind of thing. That's a very touchy situation. That's why I say right now, I wouldn't dare move a man in with me and my kids.
Exactly.
They need this to be like, and we all ain't got, they even ain't got used to their daddy being gone. The dynamics have changed. Where they didn't spend a lot of time in my room back when he was there. Now they gonna come sit across the bed and, we talk, or they all in my bathroom making TikToks in the mirror, in the video, in the mirror and stuff like that. So, but I enjoy all that. And honestly, I love the time that we having right now. In spite of, being in the middle of a divorce, I do enjoy my time with them because Jared got to where he was really hostile and mean. And to me, it put a damper, like almost like a cloud was over the house. So that part is gone. I go through my little phases of feeling alone and stuff now, but not that dark cloud where somebody just being ugly,
Yeah.
That was when he probably was just ready to be gone and everything was just making him mad because he didn't want to be there no more.
Yeah.
So, he'll say little stuff like, because he heard about the argument between me and old girl last night, and I told him, your sins, your past is still coming back to haunt me because of you dealing with this girl. And he was like, man, I can't stand that motherfucker. And he was like, I hate I did that to you with her. And he was like, just know I still don't play about you now. I still don't play about you. I said, well, at the end of the day, she was about to get it last night. Shoot. Made me so mad.
Yeah.
So mad. But it's good to get some of this stuff out and say it out loud.
Yeah.
And I hope that it can help people who don't know how to channel what they experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's a parent with substance abuse, whether it's a parent that just don't know how to connect with you in the right way to, you can say how you feel and give your opinion without making a person feel like this is the way it should be.
Right.
And it's wrong if you do it any other way.
You know what I'm hoping? This is what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that I would love, I think this is a large conversation, this mother-daughter dynamic.
Right.
But I just hope it's not commonplace that moms and daughters have to have this riff. And that's the reason why I want to hear everybody's story, because I need some hope.
The conversation with Tana revealed powerful themes that shaped her life. She shared the challenges of growing up with a young, promiscuous, and alcoholic mother whose lifestyle of stripping and drug use left her carrying adult responsibilities far too early, including caring for her siblings. This turbulent upbringing influenced her views on family and fueled her determination to provide her own children with stability and love. She also reflected on the strained but complicated relationship with her mother, acknowledging how her mother's inconsistent parenting affected her self-esteem while showing empathy for the hardships her mother endured. With her siblings, Tana described mixed dynamics, some repeating destructive patterns, others forging new paths. In contrast, Tana emphasized her parenting philosophy of open communication, acceptance, and breaking generational cycles. Her children give her renewed purpose, and she is committed to not repeating her mother's mistakes. Despite her mother's ongoing struggles, Tana continues to offer support, reflecting her deep capacity for empathy and hope for redemption. This episode invites listeners to approach the mother-daughter dynamic with openness and compassion. Rather than quick judgments, reflect on the struggles, resilience, and growth shared during this series of episodes depicting Tana's story, and consider how they resonate in your own life. By listening with empathy, you may uncover insights to strengthen your own relationships. I'm Kim Michelle. This is the Motherly Shift podcast. Thank you once again for joining us.